I'm sorry, I do have to do this. It is one of the great rights as an American to stand up and say something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what your color is, if you're a woman, man, doesn't matter. And we must teach our people how to be on the lookout. Part of our problem is the media takes what is the best clickbait. So you see the same posters or you see the same people, but you don't see the folks who are doing peaceful stuff and saying, here's what we want to do. I would caution the media to be very careful about what they're doing and how they're handling this, because what they seem to be doing is pushing a narrative that people are pushing against, which students are pushing against, which I'm thrilled to see, because I like when students get mad and say, we want a change made.
There's so much there that I like. And I just feel like, why are we so on opposite sides?
And we must teach our people how to be on the lookout. Part of our problem is the media takes what is the best clickbait. So
what she's saying here is the media takes the best clickbait. She's absolutely right. What's happening here is the media is taking the worst, not just the media, it's random people too, because everybody's the media now. People are taking clips of the protests. We're talking about the protests again, that are happening across the country, and showing the worst of the protest. You're always going to be able to find people who are doing something unsavory. And they're making that, and they're amplifying the worst of the protests. And what they're not amplifying is, well, the people who are being peaceful, I think the vast majority, who knows? I'm just watching online. If anybody is out there and seeing it, you tell me what you see on the ground. Most of it looks to be peaceful to me. And that doesn't mean that the schools don't have a right to drag them out of there. But it does mean that, to me, that's not good optics. But the media is not showing us enough of the peaceful parts of it. And then they're also not showing what the grievances are. They're just talking about these are just unhinged and they're doing it for this, and people don't know what they're out there for. But there is a reason why they're out there. And you could show that. And I think a fair depiction would be, and I would show some of it, but it's probably too graphic. I mean, the most I show are the buildings that are all knocked down. I can show you the headlines from today. From the AP says the latest, that country did more airstrikes on Rafah and they unlived at least 22 people. Airstrikes on the southern Gaza city of Rafah have unlived at least 22 people, including 6 women and 5 children, Palestinian health officials said. One of the children unlived in the strikes overnight into Monday was just 5 days old. I was going to say 5 years old, 5 days old. I mean, a lot of these strikes, this one looks like it's just from the Palestinian health officials. If you don't trust that, I don't blame you. But we know for sure American officials have acknowledged the atrocities. But they're not talking about that. They're not focusing on that. They're only focusing on the people who are probably doing the wrong thing.
Takes what is the best clickbait. So you see the same posters or you see the same people.
Yep, to fit they need them to be anti-Sem, so they've got to show anti-Sem things. What does this sound like?
But you don't see the folks who are doing peaceful stuff and saying, here's what we want to do. I would caution the media to be very careful about what they're doing and how they're handling this, because what they seem to be doing is pushing a narrative that people are pushing against, which students are pushing against, which I'm thrilled to see, because I like when students get mad and say, we want a change made.
I'm fine with that too. Even when I disagree with them, I just want that youthful energy to be tapped into something that makes sense. But what does that sound like? It sounds like J6. It's the exact same situation. They pick a couple people that look like they went over the line. We don't know if they're federal agents or not. Same with these protests. We don't know how many federal agents. That's probably the best way to break up these protests. If the optics are just too bad to come in with the full brunt force, but some states are, Texas is. But the best way would be to infiltrate it with undercovers, put on your hijab or whatever they're called, and get out there and then start violence that allows for more aggressive usage of it, justifies the aggressive usage of force, just like J6. How many of them are feds? We don't know. We'll never know. We will never know how many feds are out there right now. And they only covered that. They didn't cover the peaceful ones. That's why I always play Miguel Fornia's that day we were there. I forget the exact name of the video, but that great video where he's showing everybody peacefully marching. Nobody's on beef or any problems like that. Vast majority, what were there? Like 1 million people there, and 900,000, 990 and 9,000, 999,000 of them were, even more than that, 900 were all cool, all peaceful. And you just focus on the feds, and then the ones that maybe allowed the feds, or even without the feds, went too far. But just to be clear, my take is they all should be pardoned, because we don't know who was a fed, who was not. They got set up and trapped in a way. But she doesn't do the same thing for the J6ers. I was there that day, flew from California to gather and to pray, to celebrate America of country on display. This is a dangerous type of philosophy that Whoopi, you are a dangerous person to me. For you to give that heartfelt of a warning to the media, the same thing applies to the people who are your political enemies. And that's why we can't share a country anymore. I know that the people doing the pro-Palestinian protests, they would love to have me locked up if they could. And I'm still backing their cause. Maybe that's a stupid position. I don't know, but it's left on left. I think as long as it stays away from me, I think I can justify it. But they don't give you that same that same generosity in return. And that's why I can't rock with Whoopi. And it's sad. Thinking Impaired says, caution, the View narrative, mainstream media, false narrators. Maybe this fall. I think in general, you just take it away from these protests. Maybe Whoopi's off on that. Maybe I'm off, because I agree with Whoopi on the maybe I'm off. But just in general, that is what you should be concerned about. Because really that take wasn't even about the protesters. It was just about somebody who has power, influence, that is so biased that they only focus on one side with tears. And then when it's the other side in the same situation, they still have tears, but they're tears of anger. And that's the strength that allows the selective persecution. That's what builds it.
Middle MAGA.